So, Hans, are you excited for me moving home?
Excited is probably not the adjective I would use.
What is the adjective you would use?
Disappointed. Wait, wasn't there like plans to like shift your house for like a 20th time?
No.
Yes, there was.
Our parents were considering
Like putting up the wall or something. Building
yes,
the wall.
but that was they were only going to do that if they were like ages away, and we're going to
when they were planning to sell the house.
Because then it's more bedrooms or more rooms equals more money.
But that's not happening anytime soon.
But no, I'm not excited, but maybe apprehensive.
What? Why?
Nick, my toilet roll bill is going to go fucking through the roof now that you're
I don't poop that much.
You so do.
No, I poop more in work because then I'm getting paid to poop. I'd say last time I bought toilet roll for this house, I'd say I bought a 9-pack of toilet roll. I'd say in November, and I haven't even used half of it.
Yeah, because you either poop in work or else you poop in this house. Because I can assure you, like, honestly, you come home and the next day, I'm like, fuck, I need to buy toilet paper.
I think you live too dangerously close to the edge, Hans.
Just
you're running a
living on that cool brown threshold, you know?
Constantly low supply of toilet paper.
Brown gambling, as they call it.
You like the fear.
I like to poop with the fear. The adrenaline gets me through the poop.
You're a cop who don't play by the rules. You've nothing to lose. Bar some shit in your boxers.
Speaking of poop.
Oh, God.
Have you seen this thing, VI Poo?
Yes. I have.
What the flying fuck?
I was in Cambridge once and I couldn't sleep, so I flicked on the TV, and the first thing I saw was an advert for VIP, and I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or not.
Right, so this is the thing. I actually saw it before the advert, because obviously I work in Redacted. Can't give it away because of the rant on the last episode. But so I saw it and I was like, what the fuck's this? And it's like, oh, toilet perfume. And I was like, what? But why? And then you literally spray it on the water. It's designed in such a way that it floats on the surface of the water. And then as your poop disrupts the surface of the water.
As you drop the kids off.
Yeah, as the kids splash in the pool, it produces a nice scent to smell. Who actually sat down in an office and thought, you know what people need? Poo that smells like flowers.
To be fair, though, if they were in an office, chances are their toilet stank.
Is that how they probably got to that realization? Was like, you know what? Fucking Derek over there fucking stinks up the toilet way too often. I need some sort of item that'll make his poos more tolerable.
Okay, let me tell you this, right? The best change since I've started at work is them putting extractor fans in each individual cubicle.
Jesus.
And you know what? It's fucking great. In comparison.
I think I have a toilet stalker in work.
Well, Nick, firstly, why do you think this? But I think actually more importantly, what the fuck is a toilet stalker, Nick?
Right,
I think it's pretty obvious what a toilet stalker is. But
I tend to use the disabled toilets. Not because I'm disabled.
Mentally you're disabled, but not physically.
Because I like to be able to grunt and make whatever noises I need to make while pooping.
How much noise do you make when you're pooping?
However, I generally stick to the same one in the office. But I'd say a month or two ago, I used it and I walked in, closed the door, locked it, looked in the toilet, and it was just ruined. Absolutely ruined by someone else. So I was like, fuck, someone's caught on to me and has ruined this toilet. So I went to one of the other disabled toilets, and now that's happened again. Now someone is using the toilet that I use and purposely ruining it for me.
So it's less of toilet stalking and more toilet sabotage.
Yes. I can't poop in peace because it looks weird if I walk out to go to the disabled bathroom and it's like, oh no, and then have to walk back through the office, not go to my desk, but go to one of the other bathrooms. That looks really suspect.
Do you know what the worst bit is, Nick? If you go in, see it's been ruined, like, fuck, that's ruined, walk out.
Someone's going to think it's me.
Yeah, someone's going to come behind you and think you're the asshole.
So, not only one, do they think it's me that ruined the toilet, when someone sees me come out, but 2, they see me walk to another bathroom before going back to my desk and think, wonder why he's going to the bathroom. Did he not wipe? Was there no toilet paper? Is he walking around with shit in his boxers? People are gonna start rumors about me in the office.
That is a terrible ordeal, but you know what's a worse ordeal though, Nick, whenever it comes to being in work and having to poop? When someone phones you when you're on the toilet. It is the worst thing in the world, because you're like, do I answer it? And in my job, I have to answer it, because chances are it's a pretty important problem because someone's phoned me, so I'm like, right, I gotta answer this. So then you try and make it sound like you're not on the toilet. Because that's pretty gross talking to someone in the toilet, so you're kind of like cover the mouthpiece, so there's no reverb going into the phone. So you're like, yeah, what can I do for you? But then, oh no, wait, here comes another bowel movement. So you're like,
here comes a new challenge for you.
And they're like, you all right? Yeah, no, it's fine.
I'm just lifting something.
Stop my toe.
I'm touching on speakerphone and I'm still stacking boxes.
And then you know what's worse? When someone comes into the toilet while you're on the phone, because they know that you're on the phone, and then if they start like making noises, there's no way to cover it up, because there's not going to be
they're probably
two people
judging you
lifting
for being on the phone as well.
They're like, it's just kind of like, you know, and then you can try like, you know, try and speak into the phone a wee bit quieter, so maybe on the off chance they don't, you know, hear you. But they're going to hear you. And then the dickhead decides, oh, you know what, I'll just fart while I'm taking a piss at the urinal. So you're sitting there, yeah, if you could do that for me. And it's just one really big ordeal, and I think pooping, I can't poop at work anymore. Especially whenever I'm a manager.
I find it weird that you're saying it's strange to talk to someone on the toilet when I do all my game clubs, specifically from the bathroom.
That's really fucked, and that's very dangerous. Have that much electrical equipment near water.
I purposely move all my PC components upstairs just to do it.
That's why it takes you so long to set up for game club.
So, life lesson: don't poop at work.
That was an entire preamble about poop.
Yep.
Well, it makes a change from racism, so
only the highest brow comedy on this YouTube channel.
Highest brow.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Not So Super Bash Bros Presents Game Club for February 2019. Yes, Game Club is back. The monthly video podcast review thing where we take turns picking games, go play them for the month, and come back and discuss them for your listening pleasure. This month it was The Council by Big Bad Wolf Games, the episodic adventure game originally released in March 2018 with episode 1, with the rest of the episodes coming out throughout the year. And as always, I am immune to a decent haircut, Nick Davis.
What?
Joined by immune to shame, Hans Davis.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
And joined by vulnerable to racism, IY John.
Oh man, it's so true.
Especially in London.
So how is everybody?
I am very well, Nick. What about yourself?
I am good. I've been packing all day.
Are you going to Cambridge?
No, I was told to get stuff packed. Like the non-essential stuff.
He's moving back to your place immediately.
Yep, straight away.
About like a month and a half too early.
It's like a month. It's like 4 weeks.
I suppose we're actually...
Yeah, we're like at the end of February.
Fair.
Yes. As you may notice, the man who picked the game is not joining us today. That's because Alex's PC decided to shit the bed.
Should we have a moment of silence for Alex's PC?
No.
Can we just also admit that... I would like... No, it'd be more for me. But we should have like a montage of all the time you slagged off Alex's PC for being crap, and he defended it. Like, it's not crap, and now it's dead. So clearly, someone was right in that argument, Nick. So well done.
I'm always right. Yes, The Council. As I said, it's an episodic adventure game a la a Telltale Games type of thing. Released episodically, a la a Telltale Games kind of thing. And was released throughout last year. I got halfway through episode 3 before deciding to stop playing. Hans, how far did you get?
I was the same, about halfway through episode 3.
Why? How far did you get?
As of 10 minutes ago, talking about poop, I got to the end of chapter 1.
Chapter 1?
Oh,
Chapter
sorry.
1 or episode
Sorry,
1?
Episode 1.
Okay, right, that's better.
Alex, how far did you get? Oh, wait.
So did he not even get a chance to start playing it now?
I believe he did start playing it, yeah. I don't know how far he...
Console was the game that killed Alex's computer. It was that bad.
You know what, though? It runs like shit. I wouldn't be surprised if it broke it.
Come on, man, we'll get to it. Come on.
Right.
But Nick, what are the categories?
Oh, Hans, as ever, 3 categories.
You sure? Do you want to mix it up a wee bit now?
Gameplay,
George Washington,
story and characters,
Abraham Lincoln,
and I pose a question. What is the peak of this genre?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
I thought you had said nipple there.
Nipple Bonaparte.
So yes, let's kick it off with gameplay. And as I said, this is a very typical Telltale formula type game. However, they have made some very, I think, smart changes to it. So kind of the big change is you do have these perks or skills, probably the better way to put them, that you level up throughout your game. And these skills kind of are... They have checks throughout the game in different conversations that allow you to either get bits of information, persuade someone to your side. And I do think it's pretty cool. I think it's a very smart addition to the formula rather than just doing the very bog standard Telltale thing that I feel like a lot of these games have done.
Yes, but, and we discussed this before, I feel like there's too many of them.
Too many of the skills.
Yeah, like, there's obviously 3 kind of trees of it, if you will. Mm-hmm. But then there's 6 or 7 different skills within each of those trees, and I'm sure at some point each single one of them is touched upon in the dialogue options. Mm-hmm. And I just think there is way too many of them, and maybe it's just gamer intuition, but usually if you see an option that has a skill check on it, you think, oh, that must be, useful for something.
Oh, you've fucking activated my trap card.
I know, I have, because I did it in the game too. Yes. How many times did you get fucking duped, Nick?
Oh, this was the worst design decision I've seen in a video game. So, particularly I feel like in the second episode I noticed this, where there was numerous things you could use skill points, your effort... So, each of the skill checks that you do in the game requires effort points, which you can continually top up throughout the game, and they gradually come back over time as well. However, there are times where you can use effort points and gain nothing out of it, apart from maybe Louis does a wee quip or something, or you get some random piece of backstory that actually doesn't really give you anything gameplay-wise, and it really...
Or else you get historical information about a painting, or what... Did the guy who created this game recently graduate with a histories degree and thought, you know what, I'm really going to show off here? Because, fuck me, how many times did he just go off a random tangent about something completely unrelated to the fucking story? About history?
But yes, it dissuaded me from using the skill checks a lot of the time because I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get anything out of it. So, especially outside of conversations, I would never use the effort points or waste the effort points because I wasn't sure what I was going to get out of it.
Oh, sorry. Is this focusing purely on the open world, the world stuff, or does this include conversations?
No, in conversations I didn't really notice it. In conversations, generally you got something out of using your skill points, whether it was the right choice or not. That's fine. I'm fine with using the skill points to obviously there are people who are immune to certain skill checks. That's fine. But in times as Hans mentioned, there's times where you'll go up to a painting and you'll have say an occult skill check, and you'll get nothing out of this skill check apart from him saying, "Oh, this painting fucking."
Was created in 1906.
Yeah, and
by Da Vinci during his gay phase.
Jesus.
What? That's a thing. That's straight up a thing.
If you say so, Hans.
I mean, the year's probably not right, but there was...
Look who's showing off their history knowledge now.
There was an idea that Da Vinci was possibly gay, or had a gay lover.
But yeah, so you would get nothing out of using the skill check, so you just felt like you'd wasted those action points. And it felt it felt cheap outside. It just felt like a way for you to kind of burn through your effort points outside of conversations.
It felt like they were doing it deliberately so that if it came to a point where you actually did need them and didn't have any, it was more difficult. So it's almost like they're trying to sway the difficulty curve a bit or something in a really cheap way.
Yeah, it was a cheap way to get you to use your effort points with no actual reward.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think the worst case scenario for it is, like you said in episode 2 at the start of it. Spoilers. I just if you want to cover your ears here.
Alright.
Whenever
Actually, sorry to butt in. Any of us have plans to finish off this game from where we were?
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I actually I know we'll touch on it a bit later, but I do quite like the story, the mystery behind it.
Sorry, I should have asked that when I'd asked how far we were.
But yes, I think the worst example, or the best example of that stuff is whenever you're investigating, is it Elizabeth someone's corpse after she's been murdered at the end of episode 1 and the start of episode 2. You can blow through your entire reserve of effort points, which is like 6 or 7 to begin with, just by examining her body. But you get literally very little from it. Like, for example, one of the examples is, there's blood on her leg. Let's use, I think it's like deduction skill. And you run it, costs you 2 skill points. The blood in her leg clearly ran down from the stab wounds on her torso. Like, why was that effort? How is that effort to figure that out?
Like, that's not a massive jump in logic.
Like, oh my god. It's really dumb. It's like, it's kind of like D&D as a detective game, because you've just rolled a critical fail on like a knowledge check, and you're just like, I'm forgotten about gravity.
But like, I feel like in D&D, you're not spending anything to like do these checks. It's just, I want to do this check, I'll roll a dice. Oh shit, I fucked up. In this, because it's a finite resource, and even more so, you're punished if you try to recover that resource. Because if you like use too many items in one chapter, you get a negative buff, or a debuff essentially. Which I think is equally as fucked.
Well, I actually don't mind that, because by the time I had reached the end, where I stopped playing, I pretty much had maxed out all the capacity for every single item. So there is one item, the water, Calendine water, whatever it is, which obviously clears your debuffs, and I had like 5 of them.
Yeah.
So I would literally just, royal jelly, water, royal jelly, water. Okay, I'm back to full effort points. Like, if you do deviate from the path a wee bit, you'll max out your items, your inventory, no problem. Yeah. So that didn't bother me too much.
Oh, you feel like you've been oddly quiet.
Oh, well, see, my thing is, like, my opinion of, like, the point system, I didn't feel terrible, like, by chapter 1, so I don't really have much to say about that.
Yeah, I do feel like it was definitely something I noticed in chapter 2. I actually really liked it early on, where it was mainly used in conversations. But it's as they kind of start opening up the mansion and let you go to different rooms where you can start, there's a lot more like things you interact with. It just becomes really apparent that like they're just feeding you ways to burn through your effort points.
I don't dislike the idea of the system, but it's implemented poorly. Like, I feel like if they had been a bit more smart about it, and if they had cut back the amount of skill checks and then you actually use them for something, then yes, I think it's a really good idea, because it makes sense. It's kind of like, it's almost like an energy bar or a stamina bar. So, like, it does make sense, you know? So I really didn't mind it all that much. I think it's just, it is poorly implemented.
And within the context of the conversation stuff, I think it's really well implemented, because it always feels like there is some point in using it in conversations, whether it's to exploit someone's vulnerabilities or other, like, to sway them. And they have those, I can't remember what they actually call them, where it's like the multi-stage conversations where you need the confrontations, yeah. And I think it's really well there, because you know, like, all right, this is pretty much guaranteed. As long as it's not an immunity, it's guaranteed to give me a check mark in this confrontation.
I actually really like the confrontations.
I really like all the I really like the idea of like these immunities and vulnerability stuff. Yeah. I think it's really well done.
It's a good. I think like I like the confrontations, and I like the like you said, the immunities and stuff, because I feel like in this game, this type of game, or those parts of that type of game, it really works. Say if they had a similar thing in like LA Noire, that would have been really, really cool. Because it does kind of, once you kind of figure out people's weaknesses, you can exploit them, especially if you're in that kind of detective role sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I think, and I do like this idea of, it's quite, although it is kind of artificial looking, when you think about it, the idea of if you fuck up in a conversation too many times, well, yeah, someone is just going to shut off from you 100%. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I actually do like the confrontation system. Too bad there's only usually like one or two per per episode. My personal favorite is the one with the German Wollner, and he gets really.
Come on.
He's talking.
I'm pretty sure. Is he not Dutch? No?
Oh, he's German. I
I
think.
thought he was Dutch.
But he's talking about the book that your mother has hidden.
Yeah.
And he starts just fucking losing his shit by the second one. Like, he's talking about, like, oh, it's got so many locks, and if you try to tamper with it, it makes the pages illegible. Do not tamper with it! You're like, whoa! Whoa! I don't, like, just calm the fuck down. I haven't even, like, said anything about it.
What I'd like to say though about the whole like skill tree thing, if we go back to that for a second, the one thing I do like about it, which has nothing to do with like the skill tree as it were, is actually how I felt. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe, but like I felt it made my character, for as much as I fucking hated him, a lot more consistent as a character within a story. Because you see, if I was to play like The Walking Dead, right? I can just flip my opinion on a dime, right?
Yeah.
And like my actions, like whatever I did before, like the way Lee is like develops, he can go like anywhere instantly. But I feel like because I was like Mr. Detective Man, like it felt like the conversations I had with the characters meant that this was what my character does. And I actually felt that was actually quite cool for once. And I know some people might argue like, oh, but then, that takes away like, freedom of choice and shit. But in reality, like you are probably like one.
Yeah. Not even that. You are making that choice because you're putting the points into that system. You are making that choice to be that detective. Because you could, spread the points out a bit more evenly if you wanted to, but then you don't really get the full effect.
Well, say, I think it was, they don't pigeonhole you too much. Like, I think it would say close to at least the end of the second episode, I think I at least had, like, level 1 in every skill. Like, obviously, the ones that I had picked at the start were still a bit higher up, but I think I at least had level 1 and was getting some benefit from every skill.
Oh, now you see me? Like, you see, as soon as that dinner scene came, I was like, I have no etiquette.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, I'm just sitting there doing nothing.
Just tear it into food.
Yeah,
fuck me.
And I loved it. I fucking loved it.
Like, that entire scene, that scene made me realize just how there was too many skills. Because, like, literally, it's like I'm sitting there eating my food, and then someone says something. You've missed an etiquette check. I was like, all right, okay. Then and then someone says this. You missed a politics check. I was like, okay. It's like the next one pops up. You missed like a fucking like wiping your arse check. And you're like, what is going on?
I'm going to tell you.
I just want to eat my
this now.
food.
Right? I'm going to tell you this now, right? That is great because if I was in that position, I would miss that etiquette check. I would miss that politics check, and I would just sit there and stuff in my face. Right? Let me tell you, that is perfect. Because I think
There's drama
that is
going around IY, and he's just like, chicken, yeah.
right? Like, I feel like this is where your opinion as a player, like, really shows where if you are a player who kind of wants everything, who, like, plays games and, like, does a lot of that, like, extra stuff, I feel like the system seems very limiting. And whenever it, like, throws it in your face, oh, you missed this and you did nothing. Right? It's like, it's a bit of a slap in the face.
Like, I'd rather they didn't tell me I missed the check.
Yeah, because that feels bad. Because it's just like, wait, what?
Because then instinctively I'm thinking, fuck, I need to level that up now. Rather than thinking, alright, what's actually going to be helpful? What's the check that might be coming up? Rather than the check I've just missed.
No. I was always like, you know what? Etiquette's not coming up again. Fuck that shit. I'm not doing etiquette.
I don't need to know which fucking fork to use during the salad course. Fuck 'em.
I'm gonna just use my spoon.
I was just spooning fucking chunks of chicken.
Hey Matt, it gets it in the fastest, right? If I just like keep shoveling food, right?
What fucking food utensil has the most surface area?
I just have this mental image of IY going to town on some chicken salad sat next to George Washington and Napoleon.
Oh, Jesus.
That's something I want to talk about during the fucking story, but
We'll get there. I do have. There's one thing I do also. obviously being one of these Telltale type games, I do like that they took kind of one step further than I feel like Telltale ever did, and I feel like there's actual puzzle solving in this game.
Yes, 100%.
Like there's, especially it was Act 2, again, it was probably more episode 2, more to introduce the stuff, but I think there's a couple of instances in in episode 2 and a couple of episode 3 that I saw where it's actually requiring logical thinking and you either using your skill checks to kind of brute force your way through it or just, but there was also the idea of, yeah, if you're smart enough to read into the clues and see what it's doing, you can actually like solve this riddle without any effort points being spent. I think that's really cool because in a lot of these Telltale games, they generally are just find thing, used thing.
Are you thinking about the paintings and the Bible?
The Bible one I'm thinking of, and there's another one in the Gorgon puzzle as well.
Yeah, in episode 1, yeah. See, the Gorgon puzzle I really liked because I was kind of like, oh, everyone knows the tale of Medusa. And then it's like, yeah, you pretty much kind of have to figure out that, okay, you kind of have to tell the story of Medusa via the way that they're facing. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I did the Bible one, and I was sitting there kind of going like, fuck me, I don't know much about religious studies to kind of get this. And then I kind of realized, after I got the first one, I was like, can I just read through all these paragraphs and then find the pages? And yes, you could. You could just sit there and read every single verse and you would find the notes. Because there's nothing to stop you doing that. Yeah. It's just time consuming. So like, it's a case of, yeah, if you want to be smart about it, you can get through it quickly. But if you're dumb as fuck,
but even
it'll take longer. But
I would say I have as much religious knowledge as yourself. And I don't think you need much religious knowledge to get through that puzzle because it's more...
It's like word play and number play.
It's word play and math more than anything.
Nick, you're talking to me about maths.
Sure.
Like, you know, this is the guy who couldn't add up to a pound when he was 12.
But I think it was a nice touch because it is something that's I felt was missing from a lot of these games is genuine puzzle solving that isn't just have the right item.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of... It sets us apart from a Telltale game because Telltale games are, although very flashily presented, they're a point-and-click adventure. That's what they are. Whereas this is a genuine mystery game, I suppose maybe is the best way to describe it. Like, you know, it's not a point-and-click adventure, really. It is no, you have to use your knowledge to figure out these puzzles. Or, you know, also use your knowledge to figure out how to get through this confrontation.
Yeah. Sorry. Just off topic here, right? But on the point of pointing, right? What peripheral did you guys use to play this game?
I use my mouse and keyboard.
Keyboard and mouse.
Holy shit, that's my sensitivity.
I upped it way the fuck up.
Oh, wait. Because on mine, it was like maxed, and
I had to up it because like walking around was in like... I had to completely, like, actually lift my mouse and keep recentering it on my fucking mouse pad to turn around until I had changed it.
I'm not sure if I think I may have tried to use the controller the very first time. I think I may have upped the sensitivity there. But then whenever I played the game today with the mouse and keyboard, he was just spinning. Fucking doing donuts, right? It was insane. But sorry.
No, the default to it was was nigh on unplayable for me until I upped it.
Since we're not doing... a technical side, should we cover it in gameplay?
Yes, we can.
Runs like shit.
Yes, not only do I think this game runs like shit, I think this game
looks like shit.
It looks like shit as well. Like it's I'll not get too spoilery in case you do decide to play more, but there's a scene in the third episode, and it is obviously meant to be this highly emotionally driven scene between two people who are having this deep emotional conflict. And, like, I'm sitting there, and I get that it is meant to be this really deep scene, but it just looks like two fucking planks of wood talking to each other.
Yeah, the animations are janky.
I think the facial animations are terrible. I think the general animations of just walking around and stuff are all terrible. I don't think the game looks good enough to warrant stuff like that being bad.
It's weird as well, because they've clearly tried to go for a somewhat stylized look.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a caricature look, because, like, with, like...
those hands!
Emphasized features, but it still looks... but because it hasn't gone enough in that direction, it looks like shit. Because if it went more in that direction, you could forgive it, because if it's more stylized, then you're kind of like, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's not the best looking, but it's unique enough.
Yeah.
But it just looks like shit. Like, and it's weird, because the style's similar to, is it Dishonored? That's the assassin game, isn't it? The steampunk one. Yeah, it's a very similar style to that, but that's chalk and cheese, because Dishonored looks great, and this just looks bad.
I feel like it's just like it's not very fluid, I guess the phrase I would use. Like everything just
No.
seems so like
Stitched together.
yeah, like I feel like I noticed playing today how I felt like you see anytime the cameras changed, like the music reset as if it was like like we forgot to continuous
Have some form of like seamless transition
yeah,
here.
yeah, and I feel like there were moments where the scene just hangs on like an image for just too
Yeah,
long.
like it's I noticed that as well. I was like, it's especially when it's trying to load like a whole new, like say it's like the end of a day or something, and it's like a whole new area you're going to. It feels like obviously as it's trying to load the new area, it just kind of stalls out at the end of the last scene.
I thought it was because I'm not really one to start talking about like it's 30 FPS locked, right? I'm not really one to like talk about that kind of stuff, but like it just felt so bad. Like I don't even know. But I'm glad it was bad for you guys too, because I was worried it was like my laptop or something.
It was.
But like, and the thing is as well, like you can understand it's not a big AAA developer, but other smaller developers or same size developers have done like better, like in terms of visual style. Like like Telltale. All right, it's probably a slightly better company, but they're right. Go more stylized, make it a bit more polished. Because I reckon if you kind of made it more stylized, I had to take away. Say, if you made it more stylized, you could take away a couple of textures because then you wouldn't notice as much, and then it might run a bit better.
We're good to move on to the next category.
Are we going to go through all the characters and what we think of them?
No, definitely
I want to talk
not.
about George Washington, Nick. I want to give my opinions on him.
I could not give a shit.
Yes, I'm good to go with the story.
Yes, story and characters obviously always a very big part in these types of games, and that's a shame because I think most of these characters suck.
But they're political, like they're historical figures. There's not that much you can do with them.
Aha! You have activated my second trap card.
Is it? Oh, got to have it right. Okay.
Pot agreed. That's not. I couldn't think of a trap card.
How could you not think of a trap card?
Mirror Force. There we go.
Oh fuck! Right.
So I think it's neat that they are playing on historical characters and all, but I do not feel like them being historical characters ever really benefits the game much. Like I don't think it gives much sway or opinion towards what there is, and I think a lot of the same effects could be achieved and probably done better with their own characters. And using historical figures has the downside of also you already know that character, you already know how their story plays out. It was cool that Elizabeth Adams got killed because obviously that was not a real person. I know that George Washington's not suddenly going to die at some point because that's not how he dies in real life.
Mate, I hope he does.
Jesus.
I hope no, like not in a he's a dick. I want to see. I want to go back to you like 3 days later after I've maybe completed. It's be like, fucking, you were wrong. He did die, and they replaced him with the fake. Fuck you.
But I feel like they could have achieved a lot with their own characters and had a lot more suspense around characters. When you're not like, oh, I know that George Washington goes off and does more American stuff.
Yeah, like I suppose I can understand that. We're kind of locked into Destiny.
Is this like the whole like why like the Game of Thrones Telltale game is kind of
Yes.
shit?
It is exactly like that, yes. I was actually trying to think, because I remember I've had this exact same argument against another game I have played, and yes, it is the Game of Thrones Telltale game. So many characters have plot armor, essentially, because this is not real life, this is not the actual Game of Thrones.
No, I agree, and like, there would be nothing to stop them from pretty much doing this exactly the same thing. Even the same look of the characters, but change them. Like, why could you not make it another French lieutenant during that era?
Fair play, base them on characters, like have a French general that is essentially just Napoleon, but don't explicitly call him Napoleon.
Because then he can't, because then you'd be like, well, yeah, he dies, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he did have an affair with a mentally deranged woman. Yeah, 100%. Like I say, you are right. Don't get me wrong, yes, there's a novelty to it. Like, the idea that George Washington was actually a cult leader or a leader of a secret organization is really kind of interesting. But, and admittedly, I'm only halfway through the game. Technically, they don't do enough with it. Like, you can't have anything drastic. Like, George Washington dies, you have enough there, you can be like, yeah, he's the leader of a secret cult, and then because it's a secret, well, you never know, maybe it did happen in real life. They just don't do enough with it.
I think it's kind of telling that of the cast of characters, I think there's about, I'd say, 10 or a dozen maybe main characters.
Yes.
It's probably telling that my favourite characters amongst them are the ones that aren't historical figures.
I don't know which of them are. Well, I know which ones of them are, but I don't really know which ones of them aren't.
From what I'm guessing, this is probably speaking to my lack of knowledge on history.
Yeah.
I'm assuming like all the generals and people like that, I think, are real figures.
So is the Duchess then?
I don't think she is.
I don't think she is either.
I don't think, but I think like obviously Bonaparte, the Spanish guy, I think the German guy as well. I think they are real people. George Washington, I know, is definitely a real person.
Can't confirm.
I know. I'm pretty sure the Cardinal is. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just it's telling that my favorite characters amongst that cast are like the ones that aren't historical figures, because it feels like they did have a bit more freedom to write around them. Like I think I contrary to what I said, I like Louis as a character.
That's what I was actually about to ask Guy there, why don't you like Louis as a character?
So on paper, he actually seems like someone I would like because he makes like random snarky comments under his breath.
So
that's what I'm getting at, right?
He's French,
yeah, right. Well, here's the thing, right? Everyone else has an accent, but he does not.
Yeah, because he's a detective. He's got to cover it up.
So, like, literally, whenever I was playing it today, Amy was like, "Wait a second, you're French, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," because it was during the dining scene, and like everyone else has all these accents, and you're just like, it's
funny as well because you talk to another French person and he has an accent.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right?
And like, do you know the weirdest bit is he puts on a somewhat French accent when he says his own name. Or when he's pronouncing French words. Why the fuck could he not have just done that for like the entirety of the game?
But
the voice actor.
But that is like one of the things I dislike about the main character is like his voice acting. In my personal opinion, from what little I've played, like I think it is the worst out of the characters I have met.
You have triggered my third trap card.
Dude, is this sponsored by like Jump Force or something? Like, is this why you're saying trap cards so much?
I wish. I think near enough every voice actor and all the writing is bad.
I think the writing is terrible. I think anytime the characters have to laugh, it is really bad.
No, I disagree. I think no, the voice acting is not great. It's not like The Last of Us levels of good. But I think the real problem is it's the dubbing. It's because the voice acting is put over bad dubbing. It makes it seem worse than it actually is. Because it's a similar thing in movies. If the directing is bad, the acting will look worse than it actually is. You could put a good actor in front of a bad director and it'll seem bad, like bad acting. So I think it's the dubbing that makes the voice acting seem a lot worse than it actually is. That's my opinion.
I think the writing as well also doesn't help. Like, I think, especially the first scene just sticks with me, and Jesus, it's fucking horrendous.
But you said so yourself that the first scene is not a true representation of what the rest of the game's like. The first scene is particularly bad.
It is not, but like...
This game does not make a good first impression, I'll admit that.
Fucking horrendous first impression. Like, it almost made me shut the game off straight away.
Do you know why that first scene sticks with me? Because I had to watch it twice. Because I say twice, right? Because I played it.
Why would you object yourself to that?
Because I turned it on, right? And then I was playing.
He couldn't believe it. That wasn't. It was so bad. No, this can't be right. Something's gone wrong here. Let's go back and watch that.
This is a joke game.
No, that was kind of because I remember, right? I tried to play it, and then, like I said, it runs like shit. Right? And then I remember alt-tabbing to Nick and being like, "Wait, whenever you try this game, let me know if it runs like shit, because it runs like shit." So yeah, so I exited out to try and change the settings, because it's one of those ones where you can't change everything while in game. So you have to back out to the menu. Oh, by the way, personal pet peeve of mine: I hate games that I cannot just mash escape to leave the game, because obviously, well, you have to go into a profile or save file to open up a new menu where it says exit game. I hate that actually so much. But anyway, I had to watch it twice because I was trying to change settings, and then I had to hit like continue, and it just replays the scene from the start. I was just like, awesome. It still runs like crap, and I got to see it again.
And then you gotta like bite the gambit. Like, do I go back and try change the sentence again? I watch it for a third time, or do I just fucking keep going? I don't know.
This is how I Sisyphean torment, just having to rewatch the first scene on repeat.
So I had to make a choice, right?
That's amazing. Oh, but yeah, it's a shame because I do think obviously when these are such character-driven games that so many of the characters feel like incomplete, for lack of a better term. It feels like none of them are really fleshed out, and like my favorite, I'll say we'll not go full into all the characters, but we'll ask, give me your favorite and least favorite character. I'll start. Favorite character was Lord Mortimer himself. He had a nice beard.
Is that seriously what you're gonna go with?
I love how Nick's all like, "Oh yeah, we need like really good characters," and it's like,
no, like, I like his character, and like there's some cool stuff shown about his backstory and like who he is, and kind of where I got to.
That's what I mean. Like, he's the one with the sketchiest past. You're like,
exactly.
Yeah, best character.
It's cool, and
to be fair, my best character and the reason behind it's not much more complex.
Like
so.
the scene, like as you start playing through, like the what do they call it? Like the scene where they're all gathered around in that chamber sitting down. They had a name. Whatever the ceremony is, like the reason they're all gathered on that island. Yeah. Like as he starts doing that, and like Louis starts learning about what he's doing and the like schemes he's trying to like put into place. I think it's really cool. And I think my least favorite character is, I don't know, we'll do best for now, and then it gives me time to think about my least favorite character.
Okay. My favorite character is the Duchess. And that's because I got the banger. Bucked the life out of her.
God damn it.
Alright, sorry, mister. He has a nice beard.
He does.
And she had a nice ass.
He looks like Malcolm McDowell.
I don't know, like I feel like anyone who like all the animations in that game, I'm just like I want to stay as far away as possible from all these characters.
So just banging a Barbie and a Ken doll together.
Which you know what? I'm glad Hans picked the Duchess because.
Hold on, right? Hans, do you know her name? You keep calling her the Duchess.
Elizabeth.
Nope, that's the other one.
Damn it. Begins with an A.
Oh, Emily.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And isn't her sister
Emma?
Oh, what's her sister? Emma and Emily. Yeah, because they're twins. That's right.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. So that scene where Hans got to bang Emily, I picked Elizabeth.
Oh no, that's a different, scene Hans is talking about.
Oh.
Because I also picked Elizabeth, but I also banged Emily.
Oh, okay. You get to have your cake and eat it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. No. So I picked. Yeah. So I want to say Elizabeth because one, I don't know many characters, but two, I felt like the first conversation you have with her, she took no shit from me, and I was like, hell yeah, right?
I respect.
Yeah, I respect that, right? And then it was like, and then she tried to get me drunk, and I was like, nah, I'm not having any of this, right? And then boom, you're under arrest, and I'm like, oh fuck, should have taken that drink.
Oh, I got absolutely fucking hammered with her.
Yeah, so
I will say Elizabeth is, I'd say, arguably like the most immediately interesting character.
Yeah, no, that's
because like there's the instant reveal that George Washington's like, she's meant to be fucking dead.
I did not help him either. I was all on that Vision trip. I was like, wait, we got to go after the Vision always, right?
Nobody
spy on Napoleon. Let's do this.
He's like, all right, I just need 10 minutes in a room. Can you do that, Lou? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. And I instantly fucked it up. Because you go in and she's like being harassed by the constable guy. And I'm like, I gotta stop him. And then she runs off. And I'm like, no, shit. George Washington's gonna be pissed.
In terms of the actual kind of story, I actually do like it. I think it's a good mystery to it. There's not just one mystery. There's like a bunch of different, like, you know, who is Lord Mortimer and like what's the background? You know, what did happen to your mother? You know, why have we all been brought here to this island? All these like, you know, influential figures. I really, really like the mystery or the mysteries in the story, and I really like. They're very good at leaving each episode on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Each cliffhanger is really good. For episode 1, you finally come face to face with Mortimer, or you're arrested, depending on which way it goes. Episode 2, it ends with you. Maybe I shouldn't say this because I haven't got this far.
Episode 2 yet?
Nah, say shit.
Episode 2, you actually find your mother.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. So like in terms of they do leave them on very good cliffhangers. So yeah, I think overall actually the although the dialogue and scripting is not the best, I do think the mystery and the story behind it is really good. I just really hope they don't fuck it up, because I have a terrible feeling that the payoff is going to be really disappointing.
I'll not get into why I stopped playing. Where the story seemed like it started to go was part of the reason.
But okay, so by the time you guys stopped playing, have you guys found out why your character has like quote unquote visions that are correct?
No.
Okay.
Part of me thinks that that's not going to be explained. I think it's just going to be accepted. That like he's like a psychic detective.
Where I am in the story, there is references to it, and it has been discussed, but the reason behind them has not been sussed out.
Okay, because I feel like that is where a lot of these like stories, and not even just like video games, I mean just like TV shows and stuff sort of break from me, is whenever it sort of like has this very nice basic theme and then magic, right?
Yeah. The razzle dazzle.
Like what I actually like, I used to watch and this is actually a bit of a poor example, but I used to watch Once Upon a Time. You guys know what that show is?
Yes.
That's the one where they like flip
It's all fairy tales and stuff, isn't
all the
it?
classic folk tales in real life or something.
Correct. Right? Yeah. And that was, in my opinion, really cool up until it got hella magic. And I was like, no, I'm out.
I am half expecting there to be some sort of cult, maybe some culty magic elements to it, but I really don't want like demons and shit like that or something stupid, because I feel like you're right, it needs to be some sort of, it needs to be extraordinary, and if it's too extraordinary, then it just seems stupid. Do you know, it's got to be like a fine line.
Least favorite characters.
Louis.
Dude, you're disrupting the order. Come on.
That's why I'm going backwards now.
Sorry, we'll go back even more time to think.
Yeah.
Why, Louis?
I just hate him. I just hate him. Right?
Why does he have mutton chops?
That's just
Was that the style back then? Because I want to bring it back.
No, fuck no. Not with your what? But you've got a shaved side of your head. So what is this going to be like? Shaved and then mutton chop starts?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to have a mutton chop on the side where there's hair?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great.
It does.
Like, young, I wouldn't do it, but
You don't have the balls out.
My least favorite character is probably the mother. She just seems like a bitch.
I agree. She is my least favorite character as well.
I like at the start it's like not so bad, like the prologue, you know, there's like banter and whatever, and you kind of like, she's a bit bitchy, but then you have your first vision where she just murders someone in absolute cold blood, even though she did exactly what she asked her to do, and then that's it. No remorse whatsoever about it either as well. Just, yeah, fuck you, thanks for doing what I need you to do, now fuck off and die. That's kind of, yeah.
My issue with her is, I think, in the very limited interactions you have with her in the second and third episode, fuck, she just comes across as an absolute fucking head melt.
Yeah.
Jesus. Just a bitch. Good. Happy you don't have a fucking hand anymore. Didn't even ask about it. Every time I tried to ask about it, it's like, doesn't matter. You fucking do have one hand. That's a big deal.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a big deal. You seem slightly lopsided there now, mother.
If I had one hand, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You'd be kind of like, you'd want to tell people so that the same fate doesn't befall them.
Turns out, don't tickle an alligator, you'd end up with one hand.
That's your example.
Right, okay. I couldn't think of anything. That was the first thing that came to my head. Don't ask why. Tickle an alligator hands. Hashtag tickle the alligator.
So stupid.
So, obviously, Telltale shut down because they oversaturated their own market.
They literally shot themselves in the foot.
Yes. Multiple times. So I would like to pose a question, is what do you feel like is the peak of this genre? I feel like with this and There Has Been Other Games, they have kind of started going to this genre and using this as a form of storytelling. And it feels like they vary wildly in quality. And I feel like there is one or two that rise above the rest of them and are like shiny examples of this style done right. But there's also obviously examples like some of the shit Telltale did start pumping out towards the end that was just licensed cash-ins.
Can you guys like name other non-Telltale things just to like get my head going?
Life is Strange is I would say is the best example of one of these games.
The Walking Dead Season 1.
Non-Telltale Hands. Non-Telltale.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I asked.
Yeah, I was like,
No, I meant for the question overall.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for the question overall. But to me, it's kind of divided into two because, like I said, these are just kind of more advanced versions of point-and-click adventure games, kind of just done in 3D.
yeah, like does Phoenix Wright count in this? Like,
No, I would put Phoenix Wright more in line with a graphic novel, much like in the way that
that's fair.
Technically Danganronpa would be a graphic novel.
Okay, all right.
Another one, Until Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of done as
PS4
well.
horror game. Is again another amazing example of this done well.
Okay, right. Now you say it done well, but literally the only playthrough I've seen of that game is the guy picking all the bad choices, and I'm not doing any of the quick time events. I'm watching all the characters fall over.
To some extent as well, probably David Cage's games.
Yeah.
I would say they would fall in line with this.
Yeah.
No, I would say for me the best example would be Walking Dead Season 1 because I feel like it kind of revolutionized it. It kind of brought this whole point and click to a new engine or a new platform or genre because obviously up until that point it was really more kind of your what are the dog detective and rabbit called?
Sam and Max.
Sam and Max sort of thing.
Also Telltale.
Yeah, I know it was. So yeah, I for me, I think Walking Dead Season 1, plus it was like, there was some stuff in that I still remember vividly. Like, you know, like Lee
cutting off
climbing,
your own arm.
yeah, like Lee climbing the ladder with one arm and passing out, and when you find the guy in the bear trap, and you have to cut his fucking leg off, and you're sitting there, you're just like, it's like, swing again. I was like, I don't want to. He's suffered enough. So yeah, just for me, definitely Walking Dead Season 1.
For me, it's definitely like Life is Strange is the best example of one of these games. Like, I think it was done the best with the best writing, with the best kind of added mechanics to it. I think everything about Life is Strange, like, for me, perfected this kind of formula. And I think Until Dawn's also a really good example of it, and one that obviously done on a higher budget and with a grander scale, for lack of a better term, using like professional actors with proper like facial and motion capture and stuff. But for me, like, Life is Strange is still like the tip of the iceberg.
Does like Detroit and Heavy Rain count?
Yeah. That's a David Cage's
Oh,
games.
sorry, is that
yeah.
what that is? Okay.
Yeah, David Cage.
Okay, so I haven't actually played like any of these games. Like, I touched on Life is Strange, but like didn't quite get into it at the time. And
You did The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
didn't you? You played
Like, I'd say your main touch points are probably just
it is just Telltale stuff,
isn't it?
right?
Yeah.
So, and just to double check, right? In all, because this is the whole problem with Telltale, right? Is that in all of their games, there is nothing different, right?
Yeah,
It's just
like it's
Pretty much.
like
Yeah.
there is no new mechanics, right?
Very rarely, yeah.
Okay, so I think I would agree with Hans in terms of Walking Dead Season 1, purely because it is the first of like us talking about, Telltale, right? But I, looking back on it now, and like after everyone kept telling me to play it, like I probably enjoyed Wolf Among Us. Yeah. Even though, like, is it true that like it did not actually sell very well? Like,
it is the third best-selling Telltale game.
it's
I
their
think.
okay, because I thought I heard like it was considered not like it did not actually sell as well as
When I say third best, Walking Dead Season 1 is like a wide margin the first, and I think Season 2 is second by like a good dozen million units.
I don't think it was ever going to be a bigger seller though, because
No.
one, Walking Dead was hot shit at that time.
Yeah.
Everything was like, Walking Dead was like the coolest thing going. And The Wolf Among Us and the
source material was like
Fables?
yeah.
Fables. A comic was not well known.
No.
It's very cool. I because of the game, I actually went and read some of it, and it's very good, but it wasn't well known.
But I feel like that's what made Wolf Among Us a bit more, like, what's the word for it? Triumphant, for lack of a better term. Like, where it succeeded despite not being a massive franchise. Like, it's what let down a lot of the other Telltale games, is they had so much hype behind them, like Game of Thrones, like Guardians of the Galaxy, and like Batman.
what?
Yeah, like to a lesser extent, yeah, like they had these massive names behind them, while Wolf Among Us had this relatively niche comic series behind it with a, like, that had a really cool theme, don't get me wrong, but not a lot of people knew it, and it let them actually kind of explore it a lot better compared to everyone walking into Game of Thrones knowing exactly what the characters are and who the characters are.
I think as well, though, it's also because, was it not the next one out after Walking Dead Season 1, so it had the momentum of, well, Telltale's back on top now, so it would have the momentum sales of that.
Yeah.
Which probably helped it become 3.
I just loved playing a character that, like, everyone hated, and you know what? They had a good reason for it. And that's, like, slowly, like drip fed to you over time, and that's like really cool, right? In my opinion. There's a
scene with Bigby and like one of the pigs in his apartment, and the pig just rips into him for like making everyone hate him. Fuck, I'm gonna go play The Wolf Among Us. So good.
Shane, number 2 will never come out now.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. I don't want.
Doesn't need to.
I don't want number 2.
Perfect game by itself.
Yeah, like I love that ending. But we had this discussion about that last time, I'm sure.
I feel like we've had this discussion before. All right, let's wrap this up. I wanted to really like the console. I think it's the gameplay stuff it adds to the typical formula is really cool. I think they're really smart additions. They're not always implemented the best way, but I think they're done well more than they're done poorly. But I think what really lets the console down is the characters and the technical side of things, which I think the technical and the character side of things really let the game down because they're just not up to snuff for this type of game, and we just discussed it there with other games that have done it far better. So do I think it's worth playing the console? Probably not. Just for the gameplay side of things, probably not. Hans?
I'm probably going to be a bit more positive than you. I see a lot of potential in the console. This is not all the basics of this are not bad. It's just the fact the way they've been implemented is bad. I think if you had a slightly more competent developer behind this, you could have had a really good game. You know, if they had slightly better resources for better graphics, if they had a better mind behind it because they have implemented some of the gameplay choices, game design choices better, I think you had a really good game. I do really like the story, and I think it's interesting, and I hope it. You've kind of made me worry a bit, Nick, but I hope it doesn't peter out. So if I look at it from these out of those 2/3 of a thing, could have been done better by a better developer. Yeah, I would probably say I would recommend this game, but just about. Yeah, I just wish it had been made by someone different.
Just you mentioned that I do believe they are a French developer, and this is their first game or their first big release. And yet they
got an American to voice the goddamn protagonist.
Yes,
the French guy.
I think they were. I'm not too sure if they were a French or a French developer, but I know this is definitely their first game.
Someone else did that. They were like a company based in a country, and the main character was supposed to be from that country, and they got some other some other fucking nationality to voice them, and it made no fucking sense. It might have been an Assassin's Creed game. It's really dumb.
Like, for me, I just find that the game is not polished, right? I feel like all the parts are probably there, and like, yeah, it's not perfect, but I feel like you could look past it. Like, you know, just don't let that first scene, you know, if you have to watch it twice especially, right? Like, you know, sway you too much. But, like, I feel that, yeah, if you're someone who, like, is a bit more open-minded and can sort of look past, like, a lot of, like, the technical aspects of it, I think it's perfectly fine. But as someone who hasn't, as we discussed in the previous segment, like, who has not played many of these types of games, I don't have much to compare it to. So, also, I only played like 20% of this game. So, maybe take my opinion for a pinch of salt.
Yes, a potentially good game marred by some issues in the console. One last piece of business to deal with. March coming up, busy time for new releases, but that will not stop us from playing Hans's pick. Hans, what is it?
Nick and IY. This game was originally released in April 2005. And the reason I picked this game was because I saw a trailer for its sequel, which is coming out sometime this year. My pick for March is Psychonauts.
Ooh.
Because I've always been really curious about it. I've heard it's kind of a cult favorite, and so like I've heard like people like really, really, really like it. So yeah. Really interested to see how it goes.
10 out of 10 on Steam. What?
It is a very popular game. Did not, yeah, I believe it did not sell very well when it originally released, but it became a very big cult favorite.
Oh my god, that first screenshot. What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that indeed? As we say goodbye to the council and hello to Psychonauts. But for now, it's a goodbye from Hans.
Have a good one.
A goodbye from RY.
Bye.
Alex is saying goodbye somewhere. And it's a goodbye.
Say
from...
goodbye to his PC.
Oh,
It's dead.
And it's a goodbye from me. See ya next time.